What if I told you that just one sentence, just a few words spoken at the right moment, could spark instant attraction in a woman's mind? Not because of your looks, not because of your job, but because your words reached her emotions in a way she couldn't ignore. What if you could speak in a way that makes her lean in, smile slowly, and start seeing you differently without trying to impress her or convince her of anything? These 6 phrases are not tricks, they are tools. They're rooted in psychology, emotion, and timeless human dynamics. And when spoken the right way, they trigger something deep inside her. Curiosity, challenge, intrigue, they flip the script. Because when you understand how women connect emotionally, and you learn how to speak in ways that hit that emotional core, you don't have to chase anyone ever again. Every phrase I'm about to reveal is designed to make her think about you long after the conversation ends. And if you use these the right way, women will feel like they discovered something rare in you, and they won't want to let it go. Let's get into it. Phrase 1. You have a unique way about you. Most men rely on surface compliments. They say things like, "You look great tonight," or "You're so pretty." And sure, those words might make a woman smile for a moment, but they don't last. She's heard them 100 times before, and they blend into the background noise of every other man who's tried to impress her. But when you look her in the eye, slow your pace and say, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." Something shifts. That one sentence bypasses her surface and hits something deeper. It's not about her hair or her outfit. It's about her essence, the way she moves, the way she speaks, the subtle presence she carries. That's what makes the phrase so powerful. It tells her, you see what others miss. Let me give you a real example. David, a 52-year-old architect from Chicago, once shared how his conversations with women used to feel flat. He would compliment their appearance, and the connection would fizzle out. Then one night at a dinner party, he was talking to a woman named Laura, a 49-year-old lawyer. Instead of saying something obvious about her dress, he noticed the calm way she handled a heated debate. He leaned in, lowered his voice, and said, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." He didn't explain further. He let the words hang. Laura later admitted that moment stuck with her because it wasn't about the obvious, it was about who she was. That's the point. Women are used to men chasing what they can see. Very few pay attention to what they can feel. When you highlight something subtle, something unique to her, you separate yourself from the pack. You're no longer the man trying to win points. You're the man who sees what others overlook. Here's where Stoicism comes into play. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This phrase works only if you've been listening. You can't throw it out randomly. It has to come from genuine observation. The pause, the timing, the calm tone, all of that matters more than the words themselves. And here's the kicker: you must resist the urge to explain yourself. Many men ruin the moment by adding, "What I mean is," or "because you did this." Don't. Let the phrase sit in silence. That silence is where the tension lives. It makes her wonder, what exactly did he see? What does he mean? That wondering is what keeps you on her mind long after the conversation ends. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't dig it up immediately to prove it's growing. You plant it, cover it, and let it take root. The same goes for this phrase. Less is more. So here's your challenge. The next time you're with a woman, don't rush to compliment her looks. Wait, watch. Notice something deeper, something only she carries. And when the moment feels right, lean in, lower your voice and say, "You have a unique way about you. I like that." Then stop. Let the silence do the rest. Claim this for yourself right now. Write it in the comments I see beyond. And in the next part, we'll go even further with a phrase that flips the dynamic, completely shifting you from the one who seeks approval to the one who gives it. Phrase 2. I like women who know what they want. There's a reason this phrase hits so hard. Most men are stuck in the frame of trying to prove themselves. They throw compliments, favors, and endless attention, all in hopes that a woman will choose them. But the moment you look her in the eye and calmly say, "I like women who know what they want," you flip the frame. You stop being the applicant. You become the one doing the choosing. This subtle shift changes everything. You're not begging for her approval. You're setting a standard. You're saying without saying, "I know what I want too. And I only engage with women who have the clarity and strength to know themselves." That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And women feel it immediately. Why does it work? Because deep down, most people struggle with indecision. They second-guess, they hesitate, they look for validation outside themselves. When you highlight decisiveness as attractive, you are challenging her in the best possible way. You're rewarding strength, not passivity. That draws out her desire to step into that frame to show she belongs in your world. But here's the catch. This phrase only works if you live it. You can't say you admire decisiveness while being indecisive yourself. If you're hesitant, unclear, or always second-guessing the words, fall flat. It's like a man claiming discipline while living in chaos. The phrase becomes powerful only when it's backed by authenticity. The Stoics knew this truth well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The same principle applies here. If you don't value decisiveness in yourself, don't pretend to value it in others. But when you've cultivated clarity, when your actions show purpose, then this phrase becomes more than words. It becomes a mirror, reflecting back her own self-image. Now let's talk about delivery. Timing is everything. You don't drop this line casually at the start of a conversation. You wait until she shows something, a choice, a conviction, a bold opinion. That's your moment. You nod, lean back and say, "I like women who know what they want." Then stop. Don't over-explain. Don't soften it. Let the weight of your words hang in the air. What happens next is powerful. She either shrinks from it because she knows she lacks that clarity, or she leans into it, eager to show that she belongs in that category. Either way, you've set the tone. You're a man who respects strength, and you won't settle for less. This is the beauty of Stoic framing. You're not trying to control her reaction. You're controlling yourself, your standards, your delivery, your composure. And that calm certainty is magnetic. Think about it this way: when you say, "I like women who know what they want," you're doing more than making a compliment. You're creating a challenge. You're inviting her to rise to your level. And that challenge is intoxicating. So here's your practice. Don't just say the words, embody them. Get clear on your own wants. Cut the hesitation in your own life. Then, when you deliver this phrase, it will ring true. Lock this lesson in by writing it in the comments, "I choose clarity." And in the next part, we'll look at another phrase that goes even deeper, one that moves beyond standards and speaks directly to the essence of who she is. Phrase 3. That's what I like most about you. There's something different about this phrase compared to the first two. It's not just recognition, and it's not just a standard. It's about pointing out the one thing that makes her unforgettable. When you calmly say, "That's what I like most about you," it feels personal. It feels earned. And that's exactly why it lingers. Most men stop at generic compliments. They'll say, "You're funny," or "You're smart." But those words are vague. They don't cut deep. Women hear them all the time, and while they're nice, they don't leave a mark. But when you single out something that truly reflects her essence, you separate yourself from the crowd. Take Michael, a 7-year-old sales consultant from Denver. He told me how he used to drown women in praise, thinking more words meant more attraction. But it didn't work. He realized it wasn't about quantity, it was about precision. Then he met Rebecca, a 4-year-old marketing director. During one of their conversations, she explained how she rebuilt her career after a major setback. Instead of giving a generic, "That's impressive," Michael paused, looked her in the eye and said, "That's what I like most about you. You don't quit." Rebecca later told him those words stayed with her for days because they reflected who she truly was, not just how she looked. That's the heart of this phrase. It tells her you're not paying attention to the surface, you're paying attention to her character, her drive, her values. And for women, that's rare. Men often notice beauty or charm, but very few notice the deeper qualities that define her identity. The Stoics would call this the difference between appearance and essence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you recognize the thought, the principle, the strength behind her actions, you're acknowledging her essence. And people never forget when someone sees their essence. But timing matters. You don't want to throw this phrase out too soon. If you say it before she's revealed something meaningful, it sounds shallow. You wait until she opens up, when she shares a piece of her story, her worldview, or her values. That's when you drop it. Not too loud, not rushed. Just calm, deliberate, and final. "That's what I like most about you." Then you stop talking. The silence after the phrase is just as important as the phrase itself. Most men rush to explain, to soften, to fill the gap. Don't. Let the words breathe. Let her mind play with them. That's what makes them echo long after. Michael told me that after that dinner with Rebecca, she called him the next day, something she rarely did first. Why? Because she kept replaying what he said. She admitted, "It's not just that you noticed me, it's that you noticed the right thing. That's your power here." This phrase is not flattery, it's focus. It's not about boosting her ego, it's about recognizing her truth. And when you recognize someone's truth, you create connection that's nearly impossible to forget. So here's your challenge. Stop scattering empty compliments. Wait for the moment she reveals something real. Then, use this phrase with composure. Precision beats volume every time. Lock it in now by writing this in the comments, "I notice essence." And in the next part, we'll explore a phrase that moves from recognition to respect, something that shows you see her perspective, even when it's different from yours. Phrase 4. You see things differently, and I respect that. Most men crumble when a woman disagrees with them. They either argue endlessly to prove they're right, or they backpedal to avoid conflict. Both reactions kill attraction. Why? Because they show insecurity. But when you look her in the eye and calmly say, "You see things differently, and I respect that," you create an entirely new frame, one of strength, respect, and confidence. This phrase works because it does something unexpected. Instead of reacting defensively, you lean into her perspective. You don't have to agree, but you show that you value her mind. That kind of composure is magnetic. It tells her, "I am not threatened by difference. I can handle a woman with her own thoughts," and that's rare. Think about the world we live in. Too many conversations turn into debates. Everyone is trying to win. But attraction isn't about winning an argument. It's about building tension, polarity, and respect. By acknowledging her unique perspective, you're saying, "I see you as someone worth engaging with, even if we don't see eye to eye." That's a mark of strength, not weakness. The Stoics valued this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This line reminds us that no one owns reality, we each hold a piece of it. When you show a woman that you understand this, you elevate the conversation from ego battles to genuine connection. Here's how it works in practice. Let's say she challenges your view on something, politics, lifestyle, or even a simple preference. Most men either get defensive or joke it off. But you don't. You hold steady. You smile slightly, pause, and say, "You see things differently, and I respect that." Then stop. Don't dilute it with a but. Don't try to swing her over. The silence after the phrase is, what gives it weight? What happens next? Often she leans closer. Why? Because you've created safety. You've shown that you can handle her without shutting her down. And paradoxically, that makes her more open to your perspective. It's a paradox the Stoics knew well. The less you force, the more power you gain. And here's where it becomes even more attractive. By respecting her perspective, you position yourself as a man of value. You don't need agreement to feel validated. You don't need to dominate every discussion. Your validation comes from within. That's the essence of Stoic strength: control over self, not over others. Now let's connect this to your journey as a man. If you want to consistently show up with this level of calm, respect, and presence, you need more than just clever phrases. You need discipline. You need mindset training. That's why I've created member-only content for men who are serious about mastering attraction and Stoicism at a deeper level. By joining as a member, you'll gain access to exclusive strategies, private lessons, and tools that go beyond what I can share in public videos. This isn't about tricks. It's about building yourself into a man who naturally commands respect, both from women and from life itself. So, here's your practice next time a woman challenges your perspective. Don't rush to fight or flee. Breathe. Hold your frame. Say the words calmly. You see things differently, and I respect that. And then, let it land. Claim it right now by dropping this in the comments. I respect difference. And stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll take this idea to another level with a phrase that flips the script and makes you the challenge she can't ignore. Phrase 5. I don't know if you can handle me. This one is different. It's not about giving recognition. It's not about respect. It's about creating tension, the kind of tension that flips the dynamic and makes her wonder if she's the one being tested. When you calmly say, I don't know if you can handle me, you're turning the spotlight away from her approval and putting the weight back on her. Suddenly, she's not the prize evaluating you. You've become the prize she has to earn. Now, let's be clear. Delivery is everything here. If you say it with arrogance or insecurity, it comes off as try hard. But if you say it with calm confidence, maybe even a slight smile, it lands as playful, intriguing, and powerful. Take Robert, a 6-year-old fitness coach from Miami. He told me about a night out when he was speaking with Jennifer, a 4-year-old interior designer. The conversation was going well, but Robert noticed he was slipping into the same rhythm he used to fall into, trying to impress, trying to keep the energy up. So he pulled back. When Jennifer teased him about his busy schedule, he leaned in and said with a quiet confidence, I don't know if you can handle me. Then he leaned back and stayed silent. Robert said the look on her face changed instantly. She went from playful to curious, leaning in, asking more questions, almost as if she had to prove she could. That's the magic of this phrase. It challenges her without insulting her. It creates polarity. And polarity is what makes attraction electric. The psychology is simple. Most women are used to men competing for them, bending over backward to prove they're worthy. When you flip the script and make her wonder if she can keep up with you, you stand out. You become rare. And rarity is irresistible. The Stoics understood this principle, though they expressed it differently. Epictetus said, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? This phrase is a way of demanding the best, not just from yourself, but from anyone you let into your life. It's not arrogance. It's a declaration of standards. And here's the key, you can't fake it. If your life is chaotic, if you lack discipline, if you're unsure of yourself, the phrase won't work. It only works when it's rooted in truth. If you actually live a life that requires strength, focus, and commitment, then saying, I don't know if you can handle me, isn't a line, it's a reality. Think about the women you've met. Some are drawn to men who fold easily, who give them everything they want without question. But the women who truly value strength, the ones who are capable of deep respect and passion, are drawn to the challenge. They want a man whose life is already full, whose presence requires them to step up. That's the man this phrase represents. Robert told me that Jennifer didn't just laugh it off. She leaned into it. Days later, she texted him first, something she hadn't done before. Why? Because the phrase stuck. It wasn't a performance. It was a reflection of who he was, a man living at a level she wanted to rise to. So here's your challenge. Don't throw this phrase around carelessly. Don't use it as a joke or as empty bravado. Use it only when you know it's true, when your life is disciplined, full, and moving with purpose. Then when you look her in the eye and say, "I don't know if you can handle me," it will carry the weight of reality. Lock it in right now by writing this in the comments. I set the standard. And in the next part, we'll sharpen this even more with a phrase that strips away the easy path and forces her to see you as a man who won't be won cheaply. Phrase 6. I'm not that easy. This phrase is where the game shifts completely. Most men spend their entire lives proving they're easy to get. They shower women with attention gifts and endless compliments, thinking that availability equals attraction. But it doesn't. Availability without value just makes you another option. And that's why saying "I'm not that easy," delivered with calm confidence, is so powerful. It flips the script. Instead of being the man who's always ready to bend, you become the man who sets the pace. You imply that access to you is not automatic, that your attention is something to be earned. And here's the truth: women respect what they earn far more than what's handed to them freely. The psychology here is simple. When you signal that you're not easy, you create scarcity. Scarcity drives value. The rarer the resource, the more people desire it. And it's not about manipulation, it's about self-respect. If you don't respect your own time, energy, and attention, why should anyone else? The Stoics would back this idea. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, don't chase the approval of others. Stand firm in your standards, even if it means some people won't understand you. Saying "I'm not that easy" is a Stoic act. It shows you're willing to hold the line on your value no matter how others perceive it. Now here's how it works in practice. Imagine she's testing you, pushing boundaries, teasing, or assuming you'll go along with whatever she wants. Most men give in instantly because they're afraid of losing her attention. But you don't. You smile slightly, maybe even shake your head and say, "I'm not that easy." Then you hold the silence. No nervous laugh, no backpedaling, just composure. That silence does the heavy lifting. It makes her think twice. What you're doing here is powerful because it reframes the dynamic. You're no longer trying to impress her, you're making her wonder if she can impress you. That's the pivot point most men never reach. And once you do, everything changes. But let's be real, this phrase only works if your life backs it up. If you're always available, desperate for attention, and quick to fold, no phrase will save you. It has to come from truth. You actually have to be the man who's not easy to get. That means having standards, boundaries, and a life that's already full of purpose. Think about it like this. Women are not drawn to men who are easy to conquer. They're drawn to men who are worth conquering. The mountain that takes no effort to climb gives no thrill at the peak. But the mountain that requires discipline, patience, and strength, that's the one people remember forever. When you say "I'm not that easy," you're telling her you're that mountain. And here's the paradox. Far from pushing her away, this phrase often pulls her closer. Why? Because it activates her desire to prove herself. Suddenly, it's not just about you chasing her. It's about her leaning in to chase you, to earn you. So here's your challenge. Stop being the man who's always available at the snap of a finger. Build a life so full and disciplined that your presence is naturally scarce. Then when you deliver this phrase, it won't sound like a line. It will sound like reality. Anchor it now by writing this in the comments: "I raise standards." And in the next part, we'll go deeper with a phrase that transforms you into a puzzle she can't solve, a challenge that keeps her coming back for more. Phrase 7. You make me curious in ways I can't explain. Curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. It's what keeps people awake at night, replaying conversations in their head, wondering what you really meant. And this phrase, you make me curious in ways I can't explain, drops like a spark into that fire. It creates tension, mystery, and a sense that there's something about her that pulls you in without you fully understanding why. Why does it work? Because it's not about surface compliments. It's not about beauty or charm. It's about intrigue. You're telling her she stirs something deeper, something that even you can't fully define. That mystery is what hooks her, because women don't want to be fully figured out too quickly. They want to feel like they can keep surprising you, keep you guessing. Let me give you an example. James, a 5-year-old business consultant from Dallas, shared how he used this phrase with Emily, a 50-year-old therapist he met through friends. During a conversation, Emily challenged him on a personal philosophy he lived by. Instead of debating, James paused, leaned back and smiled. Then he said, "You make me curious in ways I can't explain." He didn't justify it. He didn't overtalk it. And he noticed how the energy shifted instantly. Emily leaned in, her expression softened, and she asked, "What do you mean by that?" James just held her gaze, shrugged slightly, and let the silence do the work. Later, she admitted that moment replayed in her head because it was the first time a man had confessed intrigue without trying to control the narrative. That's the secret. This phrase isn't about control, it's about surrendering to curiosity. And paradoxically, that makes you more powerful. Because instead of trying to dominate the moment, you're allowing space for mystery. The Stoics hinted at this dynamic too. Seneca once wrote, "There is no easy way from the earth to the stars." Desire, like curiosity, is not linear. It's not about quick answers, it's about the unknown. When you say, "You make me curious in ways I can't explain," you're embracing that unknown and you're inviting her into it with you. Here's why this lands so hard with women. Most men try to present themselves as having everything figured out. They want to appear in control, untouchable, unshaken. But when you admit curiosity without weakness, without desperation, you become magnetic. Because curiosity signals openness. It shows that she can affect you, that she can reach places in you that others can't. And that's intoxicating. But here's the catch: delivery matters. If you blurt it out nervously, it loses all its weight. It has to come slowly, with presence. Eye contact steady, voice calm, let the words breathe. And most importantly, don't explain them away. The silence after this phrase is the part she'll replay in her head. Think about it. Women aren't captivated by the men who dump all their thoughts on the table. They're captivated by the men who leave questions unanswered. When you say, "You make me curious in ways I can't explain," you become that unanswered question. James later told me Emily texted him the next day, still probing at what he meant. That's the power of planting curiosity. It makes her invest, it makes her chase, and it makes her feel like she's special enough to stir something deeper in you. So here's your challenge. Don't rush to explain women away. Don't try to control every moment. Instead, allow space for curiosity. Use this phrase when the moment feels right, and then step back. Let her wonder. Let her lean in. Anchor it in by writing this in the comments: "I spark curiosity." And in the next part, we'll take that spark and amplify it with a phrase that shows her your attention is rare, not something you hand out freely. Phrase 8. I don't give this kind of attention to just anyone. Attention is one of the most valuable currencies a man can give. Most men waste it, scattering it everywhere, hoping that volume will make them more attractive. They comment on every post, like every picture, text constantly, and stretch themselves thin. But that only makes their attention cheap. And what's cheap is never truly valued. This is why the phrase, "I don't give this kind of attention to just anyone," is so powerful. It signals to her that your focus is selective, intentional, and rare. You're not a man chasing validation. You're a man whose attention has weight. And when you choose to give it, it means something. Here's the psychology behind it. Women are constantly bombarded with male attention, messages, comments, stares, offers. But most of that attention feels empty. It's easy to give and easy to forget. When you calmly state that your attention is not something you hand out freely, you separate yourself from the masses. You show her that what she's getting from you is special. That scarcity makes it valuable. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The same applies to attention. If your thoughts are scattered and desperate, your attention loses all quality. But when your thoughts are disciplined, your focus becomes sharp, and your attention becomes a gift instead of a habit. Imagine the impact. You're sitting across from her, engaged in conversation. She notices how present you are, how you're not distracted by your phone, not scanning the room, not performing for anyone else. She feels your full presence. Then at the right moment you tell her, "I don't give this kind of attention to just anyone." You don't explain further. You let the silence hang. What she hears is, "I am rare. My focus is rare. And I've chosen to give it to you." That's what sticks in her mind. But let's be clear, this phrase only works if it's true. If you're the man who floods every woman with attention, the words will feel hollow. They'll come off as a line instead of reality. The power is in the congruence, when your actions already show that you're selective, disciplined, and intentional. Then the phrase simply confirms what she already feels. And here's another layer. This phrase creates a subtle challenge. It makes her wonder, why me? What does he see in me that makes me worthy of this focus? That wondering draws her closer. Instead of you chasing her, she begins to seek your approval, to prove that she deserves the attention you rarely give. This is the essence of masculine polarity. Your presence is not scattered, it's anchored. And when you choose to give it, it changes the energy of the room. Women feel that difference instantly. The beauty of this phrase is also in its restraint. You're not promising the world. You're not giving her endless validation. You're simply stating a boundary. Your attention is not cheap, and boundaries are what create respect. So here's your challenge. Don't just use the phrase, live it. Be the man who doesn't waste time chasing every distraction. Be the man who values his own energy so much that when he gives it, it becomes unforgettable. Anchor this truth by writing in the comments, "I value my focus." And in the next part, we'll go deeper into the psychology of desire with a phrase that tells her she awakens something in you that no one else can. Phrase 9. You bring out something rare in me. There are plenty of compliments that men throw around, but very few cut deep enough to change how a woman sees herself. This one does. When you look her in the eye and say, "You bring out something rare in me," you're not just complimenting her. You're revealing that she affects you in a way most people never do. It's a confession of impact, and impact is magnetic. Why is this so powerful? Because most women are used to being admired for what they give: beauty, charm, or presence. But rarely are they told what they awaken in someone else. This phrase flips the perspective. You're not praising her directly, you're acknowledging her influence on you. That's deeper, that's personal. Let's bring this to life with a story. Daniel, a 58-year-old entrepreneur from Seattle, told me about a conversation he had with Sarah, a 55-year-old gallery owner. Daniel wasn't trying to impress her. He had already learned that chasing never worked. But during one of their conversations, Sarah said something about how she saw art as a reflection of resilience. Instead of debating or brushing it off, Daniel paused. He leaned in and said softly, "You bring out something rare in me. You make me think in ways I usually don't." Sarah later admitted that moment struck her deeply. It wasn't about flattery, it was about recognition. She felt she had touched something inside him that no one else did. That's the psychology here. You're giving her a role in your inner world. You're saying she awakens a part of you that stays hidden with everyone else. It could be curiosity, playfulness, calm, or even passion. Whatever it is, it feels rare because it's not your default. And that rarity makes her feel special. Now, here's the important part. It only works if you mean it. If you throw this phrase around without depth, it becomes just another line. But when you tie it to something real, something she said, something she did, it resonates. The key is observation. Pay attention to the moments where she shifts your perspective, lightens your mood, or sharpens your thinking. That's your opening. The Stoics taught us to value the things that bring out our best. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." This phrase embodies that principle. You're essentially saying, by being around you, I become better. That's not weakness, that's strength. Because only a man secure in himself can admit that another person brings out his hidden depths. But don't over-explain. If you say, "You bring out something rare in me," and then rush to define it with a laundry list, you ruin the impact. The power is in the vagueness. Leave it hanging. Let her wonder what part of you she's unlocked. That curiosity is what keeps her thinking about you long after. Daniel told me that Sarah later brought up that line multiple times, almost fishing for more details. That's what you want. Not a reaction in the moment, but a lasting impression that makes her revisit the memory. Here's the paradox. By admitting she brings out something rare, you actually increase your value. Because you're not just another man she met, you're the man who revealed a side of himself she made possible. That creates a bond that's hard to shake. So here's your challenge watch for the moment when a woman shifts something inside you. Don't let it pass unnoticed. Acknowledge it with this phrase. Deliver it calmly with eye contact, and then let the silence do the work. Anchor this lesson now by writing in the comments, "I reveal depth." And in the final part, we'll look at the phrase that ties it all together, a declaration that blends choice with independence, leaving her both wanted and challenged at the same time. Phrase 10. I choose you, but I don't need you. If there's one phrase that captures the balance of strength and attraction, it's this one. I choose you, but I don't need you. These words hold the ultimate paradox, the ability to want someone without clinging to love deeply, without losing yourself. It's not just a phrase, it's a way of living, and when delivered from a place of truth, it becomes unforgettable. Here's why it matters. Most relationships fail because of imbalance. Either one person chases desperately, or the other pulls away to maintain control. Both extremes destroy attraction. But when you can look at a woman and communicate that you value her, that you desire her, yet your identity is not dependent on her, you've struck the perfect middle ground. That's the kind of energy that women can't resist because it feels rare, grounded, and secure. Imagine this scenario. You're with a woman who's testing you. Maybe she's pulling back slightly. Maybe she's trying to see how much you'll bend. Most men either beg for reassurance or shut down completely. But not you. You hold your frame. You say calmly, I choose you, but I don't need you. In that moment, you've sent two messages at once. You're not afraid to walk away, but you're also not afraid to stay. That duality is magnetic. The Stoics had a word for this balance, apatheia. Not the absence of feeling, but freedom from being controlled by it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. This phrase is a living expression of that wisdom. You can want, you can enjoy, you can even love, but you're not enslaved by those desires. Your peace doesn't depend on anyone else. Now let's expand the meaning. When you say, I choose you, you're offering commitment. You're saying she matters enough for you to give your energy and focus. But by adding, I don't need you, you're protecting your identity. You're making it clear that your life is already full, Your purpose is already strong, and your happiness isn't conditional. That combination creates polarity, desire mixed with independence. And here's the truth. Most women crave exactly this balance. They don't want a man who needs them to breathe, because that feels suffocating. But they also don't want a man who is detached and cold, because that feels distant. What they crave is a man who has the strength to stand alone but chooses not to. That choice is what makes his love powerful. Let's take it further. Think about the kind of men who always need someone. They give away their standards, sacrifice their goals, and lose their identity just to keep a relationship alive. Women may accept them, but they don't respect them. On the flip side, men who refuse to need anyone often live bitter, disconnected lives. Respect may come, but intimacy doesn't. The phrase, "I choose you, but I don't need you," avoids both traps. It's the middle way, the Stoic way. The practical application is simple but not easy. You can't just say the words, you have to live them. That means building a life rich in purpose, friendships, discipline, and fulfillment outside of romance. It means having a strong frame that no relationship can shake. Then when you deliver the phrase, it resonates because she can see the truth of it in how you live. And here's the effect. When a woman hears this, she feels wanted without being smothered. She feels valued, but she also feels the need to keep investing because she knows she doesn't control you. That tension keeps attraction alive far longer than desperate need ever could. At the end of the day, this phrase is not just about her. It's about you. It's about declaring to yourself that you are whole, complete, and grounded whether or not she's by your side. And from that place of strength, every connection you create will be deeper, freer, and more magnetic. So remember this, "I choose you, but I don't need you," is not a line, it's a philosophy. Live it, embody it, and watch how it transforms the way women respond to you. So that's it. 10 phrases that aren't cheap tricks, but powerful signals rooted in psychology and Stoic strength. Each one carries weight because it comes from composure, not desperation. Use them wisely, and you'll notice the difference. Women respond not just to what you say, but to the man you are when you say it. If this video gave you value, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson. And if you're ready to take this further, if you want access to exclusive Stoic strategies, deeper psychology breakdowns, and member-only content designed to sharpen your confidence and your relationships, consider becoming a channel or member today. Membership isn't just about supporting the channel, it's about investing in yourself and stepping into the discipline and presence that few men ever reach. Thank you for watching. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and I'll see you tomorrow.